last year going into the season, I just like everybody else, I put together my prediction on what the college football playoff would look like. This was August of 2025. And I remember I put Navy in there as the American champion, as a team I thought might lose just one game to Notre Dame and would be in the playoff. And I remember over and over and over on my TikTok show that I do daily, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, Monday through Friday, people coming in and being like, dude doesn't know what he's talking about. Navy in the playoff. I just don't think people realize how the playoff works. I think they learned with Tulane and James Madison getting in there, but I just don't think people realized it. And Navy's 21-5 over the last 2 years. They went 11-2 last year, by the way, 7-1 in the American. This is a team under Brian Newberry that has become and has earned the right to be the favorite or one of the favorites every year in the American until proven otherwise. Guys, we're going to talk about the Midshipmen today. You're listening to the You Think You Know Sports podcast. We are going around the country previewing just about everybody's season in college football, all 138 teams. We are working on it. We're getting through the American and the Big Ten at the same time right now. You can find this podcast, and obviously you found it somehow, on Apple, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, just about anywhere you can find podcasts. You can find me on TikTok every day during the week. A little bit different during the summer, but pretty much every day. And I've also ventured out to the other social medias as well. Those are all brand new. You can find all of my work, though, on youthinkyouKnowsports.com, spelled with a U, not Y-O-U. Listen, people in 2026 don't love perfect grammar. They want it to be easy and quick, so we just use the letter U. So I hope you'll find us there. And we appreciate you listening. Look, Navy has certainly earned the right, like I said, to be considered the favorite in the American going into the year. A lot of people consider Navy the favorite. If you read the preseason magazines, I've got Athlon, I've got Lindy's. Phil Steele is not out on June 5th as I'm making this podcast. But, Sporting News, I believe all of them, and I don't know for 1,000%, but I know at least two of them have Navy as the favorite in the American. Look, I think there's a lot of question marks here. Blake Horvath is gone, and Blake Horvath was such a great leader, but he was also, he just understood the triple option offense so well. The way that Navy plays football, you need a guy who understands every single part of that offense. And he was so great at it. He was fantastic at it. He was also a pretty decent passer when they had to throw the ball. Navy was actually number 2 in yards per pass nationally last year. And they only threw 14 passes a game. Obviously, they ran it 77% of the time, third most in the country. That doesn't surprise anybody. But now Horvath is gone, and it looks like the keys to the offense are going to go over to Braxton Woodson, a senior who has played, throughout 3 years at Navy. He's played a little bit, 95 passing attempts. He's completed 44. That's a 46% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's got 146 carries, 760 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's got sprinter speed. That's how I've seen him described by many people. He's played slot back. He's played wide receiver. They have worked to get him on the field over the last 3 years with his speed and his talent. And now he's going to take on this offense. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out for Navy. I think it's hard to imagine that they can be as good on offense as they were last year. They averaged 30 points per game, just under 30, 34th best in the country last year, over 400 yards per game, which is 39th best in the country. We'll see how this works out offensively for the Midshipmen. But I'll tell you, 68% of their offensive yardage is gone. And that's going to be huge. I mean, they lost their starting running back. They lost their leading slot back. So this is going to be a very different looking offense. The guy who is probably going to be the starting running back is Vic Listorti, who has had lingering hamstring injuries last year. He's going to be, it's questionable. Let's hope, obviously, that he's able to take on this role and really lead this offense. Everything you read is that Charles Robinson had a fantastic spring. He's going to be a slot back for the Midshipmen on offense. This offense, hey, listen, it doesn't matter, you know, what year you go into. This is hard to defend. I ran the triple option in high school, the wing tee, and look, it's difficult to stop it when it's done well, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what this looks like with different pieces. But the idea that they're going to just be able to replace these guys and not see any slippage, I don't know that that's going to be true. Defensively, they returned 6 starters, so 5 on offense. And I'll mention, before we move on from offense, 4 offensive linemen are back, right? So Sean Crowley, Malcolm Johnson, Cam Nichols, Hoke Smith are all back on offense. That's huge. So you've got all these positions that you're trying to get figured out, all the skill position guys. But on the line, there's no questions really there. That should be really good. You'd almost prefer to have the linemen, right? Because you're going to have holes in this running game if you've got 4 stout linemen. I think it's great that they have the continuity there. Defensively, those 6 guys are back. The three really big ones, right? You've got Mark Anthony Parker, Coleman Colley. They had 176 combined tackles last year. And then Giuseppe Sessi had 81 tackles as a safety. He is back. So there are some key guys back on defense. This is a defense last year that played fairly well, right? They allowed 26.5 points per game. That's number 74 in the country. And 384 yards per game, also number 74 in the country. So you'd love to see them step up a little bit with some of these key guys back. If you could get, beyond kind of an average mark, which is about where Navy was, and get into more of the good to great category, the offense would not have to carry as much as it has had to the last couple of seasons. The schedule is a pretty interesting one. And what I mean by that is they play Townsend to begin the year, right? But after that, they play 3 consecutive road games. I don't like that for anybody. I don't care who you are. If you're playing back-to-back road games, and I don't care who your opponents are, that's not a good thing. They play Florida Atlantic, who I've already done a podcast on. I've already done a write-up on. I've already done a video on. Then they go to UAB, to Birmingham to play my alma mater, and then they play Air Force. So between September the 12th and October the 10th, they don't play at home, right? When they finally get back to home, they play Tulsa. Then they play at UTSA on October 17th. The Roadrunners are hard to beat at home. I'm telling you. North Texas, October 24th. We're about to have a video on the Mean Green in a podcast. Notre Dame in Foxborough on Massachusetts, or on Halloween in Massachusetts. Temple and Memphis are home games after that. So, look, the flip side is they don't play a true road game between October 17th and November 28th. That's a long stretch. Now, they play in Foxborough against Notre Dame, but not a true road game in that stretch. Then they end the year with Charlotte on November 28th. And, of course, the Army game, which is in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So while I understand that Navy has earned the right, that they're going to be able to replace guys on offense, these skill position guys, and I'm not trying to take any credit away, but I think in general people look at this and they say, well, the skill position guys aren't quite as important on a team that runs this offense. But I think having the right captain, and you can't turn the ball over either. There's a lot of intricacies that go into this kind of offense where, yeah, maybe you don't have NFL guys running the football, but they need to know to do their exact part. We'll see, man. I'm really interested because most people say Navy's the favorite. Typically, you don't have a favorite if your quarterback who did it all the previous year is gone. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see this team in the American as we continue to break down all the teams in the American. I think Army's going to be really good this year too. So we'll see if Army-Navy really has a lot on the line this year. I think that's definitely possible. Guys, I appreciate you listening. This is the You Think You Know Sports podcast. The next team we're going to talk about in the American is North Texas. We're also continuing our previews in the Big Ten. Thank you for listening, and hope you'll hit the subscribe button to catch all of these future episodes.